Good evening and welcome. This is Chris Upton here live. There's no one in the house. Oh, Thomas McNulty's in the house and Denver Skinner's in the house. They beat me to it. They beat me to it. Good evening, gentlemen. I thought I was all on my own then. Oh, Tracy's in the house as well. Good evening, Tracy. Graham's in the house as well. They're all coming in now. They've managed to get in, see? They must have missed the live feed on Sunday. They must have missed it. I don't know why we had problems. Just answer that, Sue, and say yes, will you?
Where?
Gareth. Yeah, answer this. Hang on, everyone. Just give us a second. Just read that and just say yes. We picked up the new code. No problem at all. If you want to do a transfer, no problem at all. It's Gareth. Sorry about that, everyone. She doesn't realise we're live. She's been drinking.
No.
Why don't you just leave it and I'll do it because she's pissed. She's pissed. She's just honestly, you can't take that woman anywhere. 3 glasses of wine and she's anybody's. Honestly.
Maybe because I haven't eaten all day.
So talk amongst yourself for 2 seconds. It's quite important, this message. Sorry. Sorry about that. It's just an important message was sent to me. I've been a very busy bunny boy. I've been all the way to Exeter, and I've purchased my new wheels, and I've just got back with it. And literally, we stopped for something to eat, and I couldn't get Sue out the pub. I could not get Sue out the pub. And do you know what? Ham, egg, and chips, and 3 drinks. She had 2, I had 1. In one pub, and the first pub we went in, we ordered the drinks and said they couldn't give us any food. So she's just been banging back the wine before she's had any food, honestly. So I'm going to have to apologise now if she kicks off tonight. You're going to see the real Sue when she's had a few. There you go. I'm going to just drink my Guinness and slowly shut up. Yeah, so it was a bit of a race today. She had to go and get her hair done first, see. You know what it's like, you guys? You know, she's got to go and get her hair done, get her nostrils freaking plucked, eyebrows done. She turns up like she's been wrestling, and get her priorities right. She says, got to get that right. Good evening, all. Hope you're all well. She says. Anyway, she's in the background, so she kicks off, and I might have to call Thomas, the Mad Scotsman.
He's in, first one.
He's the first in. So, absolutely pouring it down here. Absolutely unbelievably pouring it down. Dealt with the craziest garage I've ever seen. Went up to settle the payment for the car. And part exchanged my car. And he said, that's everything. We've all done. I thought, well, aren't you going to take the payment? Freaking not right in the head, these garages, aren't they? I'd have gone out the door and freaking Sue said, no, we've got to pay. I said, they'll send us the bill. Unbelievable. It's going to be a good one tonight. If Sue is pissed, no, it's not, Steve. No, it's not. She's not. She won't say very much at all. What have you traded it in for? Yeah, I got rid of the Rexton. I got rid of the freaking Rexton. I'm in heaven. I got rid of the Rexton. Good evening, Jeff Haraway. I bought a Toyota. I went back to Toyota Hilux. Yeah, it's quite nice. Did make a little bit of a mistake when I bought it. I didn't realise it was manual. I thought all Toyotas were automatic. And I didn't realise it didn't have a tow bar either. I was in such a hurry to get rid of my Rexton. I got such a good deal. And no one would buy the Toyota. He said, we've had hardly anybody in to look at the Toyota. And I thought, well, they're like rocking horse shit at the moment. You try and find one. But the problem is they'd put the price of the Toyota up and the VAT, added it together and gone, that's the price plus VAT on top. It was like $4,000 overpriced. Well, actually, it wasn't. That was the VAT. When I explained to them, they went, oh, no wonder we had nobody in to look at it. No, because you're $4,000 dearer than everybody else. But yeah, we got a bargain in the end. Got a nice car. Anyway, enough about what I buy. I mean, I'm just giving too much away now, aren't I? Just giving too much away. Good. Didn't realise it was manual until you got to change gear. Yeah, I thought, oh shit, it's not automatic. So lovely gearbox on them though. Actually, nice, enjoyable. It's enjoyable having something in your hand, isn't it? It just makes back to driving again, doesn't it? I had to change gear. Yeah. Anyway, so that's the Scotland trip sorted out. I thought, I'm not coming to Scotland in that Rexton. It'll be like that freaking horse lorry. We're going back on a transporter. No, I did like the Rexton, but it just freaking kept breaking down. And every time it broke down, you had to wait until a slow boat from China came here with the goods on board. That was the problem. So it wasn't reliable. It wasn't reliable when it did go wrong. It didn't go wrong much, but when it did, it was big time. And I was just out of warranty on it. And so I thought, I'm not sleeping at night. How about that? Anyway, I thought we were here to talk about dog training and not about vehicles. But if anyone wants to know anything else, I'll do sex education, sex advice, anything anybody wants to know. The other week we took the feed down and didn't leave it up, so anybody who came in obviously knew what we were cracking on about, and I bet anyone who came in knew would have thought, what the frig is this? This isn't dog training. Well, this Wednesday night hasn't ever turned into a dog training lately, has it? It's like just a piss up, isn't it, between friends? It's party time, isn't it?
Dog question for you.
Hang on, we have a dog question. Dog question for you. Can you start training a gun dog at the age of 3 from working lines? Best age, really. Best age. What is the dog doing at the moment, Denver? Is the dog retrieving to hand? Is the dog happy to carry it? That's all you're interested in at that stage. If the dog likes to carry stuff, then you're laughing. I find that you leave a dog to mature and they're easier to train. Simple as that. I think you can put too many problems into these younger dogs. It's the same as like, why would you send a young kid to university? But it depends on the humanization it's had. It doesn't mean it's got to socialize. Everyone's got this thing about dogs got to be able to be socialized. That's a load of balls. It depends. Yes, likes playing ball. That's all I know. There you go, Denver. There you go. So, Guinness. Do not buy the Guinness with caffeine in it. Coffee. Her over there, who can't see, who was sober, came back on Saturday when I was watching the rugby and went, Guinness. As soon as you smell it, you go, oh shit, it smells like coffee. Coffee beans. So why do they want to ruin a good Guinness with coffee? Anybody else drunk that stuff? Always moaning, aren't I? Always moaning, says Sue. Definitely pays to let them grow up a bit. I think so. I think it does, Adam. I think it does. Over the years, I've seen many a good dog trainer who trialed, go through, it's rotten. Thank you, Peter Piper. Thank you. I've seen many a good dog trainer who's trialed and done well with dogs go through so many youngsters because they expect them all to be the same. Geniuses as young pups, and not all dogs are. Some dogs really excel as youngsters, and you think, well, I've got a real good in here. And then as they develop, they're not as good. Other dogs that you don't rush, and then you bring in Guinness with coffee, they need to be shot. Thank you, Michael.
Denver said it's a Labrador, just thinking about it.
Right, okay. It's a Labrador. Well, it's even more important it retrieves, isn't it? That's all it is, isn't it? Retrieving dog. That's all you want, isn't it, with a Labrador? Yes.
Tracy wasn't Tracy wasn't keen on the coffee either.
Thank God for that. I'm glad we're getting the same feedback, everyone, because perhaps Sue will never turn up with it again.
Just disgraceful, isn't it?
Perhaps she thought it will just keep me awake.
No, I just saw Guinness picked it up.
She just wants me awake all night long. As Lionel Richie said, all night long. Look, we had to start on that again, didn't we? And I was trying to keep this down to dog training.
No, that's not bad, 9 minutes. Yeah.
9 minutes, she says. That's about as how long you last. Sorry. Get it bought, Denver. There you go. Adam's telling you. Tracy, how did you get a green face? I freaking feel like doing that with this. Honestly.
That's her green face.
I just had a lovely Guinness, and now I got this shit. Welcome home.
That's why Tracy's face is green.
So just let me tell you. Just let me tell you. Hang on. Just let me tell you. This is what's happening, everyone. This is what's happening. Good look at me bank. I'm skint now after buying that car. Here we go. Just give us a second. Yeah, here we go. Ham, egg, and chips. 2 glasses of wine. And a Guinness. How much? 2 ham, egg, and chips. 2 glasses of wine.
And don't forget the starter.
Oh, we had a starter. No, that was £8. Sharing platter, like cold meat platter to start off with. £48.15. £48.15 for frickin' ham, egg, and chips. Welcome Home was a hit single with which duo? Wasn't it Peters and Lee, wasn't it? Welcome home. Welcome home. Close the door and let me in. Am I right?
It's Welcome Home was oh God, he's dead now, isn't he?
Max Bygraves.
No, it was that.
Come on. Julian Lee says yes. Thanks, Julian. I knew it was Welcome Home. Yeah, I knew it was Peter.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, fucking, she's pissed. See what I'm saying, everyone? See that? Do you see that? Do you see how fast I got it, Julian? And then she's going, no, it's not him. It's no, it wasn't. There you go. Honestly, what's this? Freaking quiz night? Is this quiz night? Is it? Go on then. Let's see who's got a good memory. Who was the only artist to have 3 hits in one day? Come on, because it's so. Don't say nothing, Sue. Shut up in the corner. She's going to give it away. Who was the only artist to have 3 hits in one day? Come on. I'm not messing around. I'm not doing any more dog questions until you answer that question. Come on, you're Googling it, aren't you, you lot? Who was the only artist to have 3 hits in one day? Elvis? Julian Lees? Wash your mouth out. Come on. Anybody else?
Yeah, me.
Sue. Now she's going to tell you now because she's drunk. She's going to try and remember the joke. Who was the only artist to have 3 hits in one day, Sue? John Lennon.
John Lennon.
Why, Sue?
2 in the head, 1 in the body.
No.
2 in the body, 1 in the head.
Yeah, two in the body and 1 in the head. 3 hits in one day.
Yeah, see, Tim Weston got it.
Yep, well done. That was it. So there you go. So you knew that one.
We probably heard it before.
Well, I've said it so many times. I just find it hilarious. You can actually make a pub stop in their tracks if there's people in there. They get very offended these days when you say stuff like that. Well, Karen, I'm very disappointed. You're late. I'm very, very upset that you're late. I think if you want to join...
For a spanner, it's disgraceful.
For a spanner, she says. She says it's disgraceful. She says, if you wanted to be a Rupert in the army, you would get beasted for that. I said, you don't want to be a Rupert. Anyway, we come back across Bodmin Moor because I bought my car from Exeter and come back across Bodmin Moor. It was lovely. You got the fun. You got the sky black. And it was. I love it when it's rugged and dangerous up on the moor. Nothing better than training on the moor in a gale, in a blizzard. So there you go. Thanks for joining in eventually, Kieran. What have you been up to? We don't want to know. We do not want to know. We don't want to know. So any questions about dog training? That's what I'm here for. Any questions about dog training? Have you seen anything worth talking about this week? Have you seen anything worth talking about? Come on. I mean, let's have a little bit of a conversation, shall we? Has anybody got anything to say on here? 9 crimes red wine with a hint of coffee is.
Really good.
Are we still on the pop quiz or what? 9 crimes red wine. 9 crimes. I don't even know what 19 crimes is.
It's a makeable. It's a name of a wine, isn't it? But
I didn't know that.
with coffee.
No. I think if I wanted to go off drinking, I could drink this shit. Did anybody like that Menadu, what do you call it? Menadu? Or is it just a Cornish thing? It's a bit like, it's a stout. It's quite nice. It's got a quite nice taste to it. So see what I'm saying? I'm just blind again here. It's 15 minutes gone. I've talked nothing but shit again tonight, and you're still here, 31 of you. I can't believe it. Are we not talking about something serious? What did I miss on the 4.5 hour live? Jesus Christ, Tracy. Jesus Christ, honestly.
4.5 hours.
Yeah, 4.5 hours, Trace. We solved the world, Trace. We did. We solved the world.
What time did the office shut Sunday night?
Yeah, very, very freaking late.
1:45.
I don't understand it because on here I can just press a button at 1 hour and go, bye-bye, everyone. See you later. On there, it was like last man standing. It's like a competition. Gary Marriott's eyes were rolling and he says, I don't need to be at work tomorrow. I thought, I fucking do. Well, Sue does anyway. It was funny as hell. It was funny. Sol was in his element. He was absolutely buzzing. And I think we had some good conversation, actually. I mean, other people on here. Peter Piper bailed out. He's freaking Scott, so isn't he? He says he doesn't wear underpants, but freaking, I think he does. I think he wears a corset as well as lacy tights, stockings. Sorry. Yeah, he had to bail out, Peter Piper. It was too much for him. His eyes. He had to use matches in his eyes. It's funny because the nice thing about on the live feed, you don't have to show your face, so you can sit there snoring on the freaking side if you want. It's the ones who stand there and still keep fucking showing everybody they're still interested. But isn't it funny how like-minded people can chat for how many hours is that? So altogether, was it 3.5 hours?
1:45 when it finished, wasn't it?
Yeah. The only thing that was sore was my arse sitting on a freaking chair in front of the computer all freaking night talking. Yeah, Steve managed 3.5 hours, look, but he had to go to work. Well, I understand that. Sue had to go to work as well. She says we're going to have to knock that on the head. We cannot go 3.5. I reckon someone's going to want to do a 5 hour. Well, they want to do a Wigan, aren't they? All night long. They want to do an all-nighter, don't they? Should we do an all-nighter on there and see freaking who's still there? No. I've got to get my beauty sleep. Look at my freaking eyes. I've still not recovered. Sue, she had work the next morning, but this week, guess what she's done? She's only got a freaking whole week off to drive me insane. Haley would love to do a 3.5 hour sesh. Yeah.
Wait, he needs to take the vitamin tablets, Sandra.
Yeah, just keep taking them vitamin tablets. Like Sue says, you've just got to be able to keep it up all night. That's the thing, isn't it? 3.5 hour session. You just got to keep it up. It's as you get older, your stamina lasts longer, Kieran. Like your excitement level as a youngster sometimes just takes over. But as you get older, you're a bit classier with it. You take your time. There's more about pleasing than pleasing yourself. But hey, you'll only learn that when you're my age. Yours seems to be getting shorter. Yeah, I tell you what, if you'd freaking thrown yourself in that freaking lake on the freaking moor, coming across the moor, you freaking wouldn't have a big one. Don't care how big it is. It would have shrunk in there, I tell you. I reckon let's have a Corleone summer ball where we could all meet up and get pissed together. No, I don't want to meet up with any of you lot and get pissed. They'd be fighting. They would. No, I'm not. I'm looking forward to meeting up this year. Like I said, we're going training. Good evening, Barry Lamb. We're meeting up right around the country this summer, August, and we're doing training right across up to Scotland and back, and meeting up with a lot of you. I've had so many requests. It's fantastic. I love your enthusiasm. Some of you want one-to-one. Some of you want group sessions. It's going to be great to meet up and see if we can all get together in different places up and down the country. That would be nice. And it would be nice for other members to meet other members, wouldn't it? I mean, like we get the same sort of people in the live feeds on a Sunday night. But it would be nice to see new faces as well, wouldn't it? And introduce people. And as you know yourselves, you've achieved so much by having one-to-one. You can't beat that one-to-one training, can you? See what she's doing in the background? She's now trying to interrupt again with coughing. She's going to say she's come down with COVID again now.
No, I don't want that again.
She's attention. She's just attention seeking. Yeah, it'd be nice, Deborah, to meet up and other people work their dogs with each other. I'm pretty sure that if people really want to, we can do it. We can do it. When I say really want to, if sometimes you've got to make a little bit of effort. I can't just come round to your house. You're going to have to meet me on the way, but it might only be traveling 40, 50 miles compared to having to travel 700 miles. I'll do the mileage. I'll do the mileage. And good evening. He's here eventually. Look, evening, everyone. Gary. I think he's just woke up after freaking last Sunday's live feed, isn't it? I think he's just got out of bed because he said he was off all week, didn't he? I mean, Gary had to go early. I mean, the trainers left me. They left me there with the rabble. The rabble. The training day with Alan's and Catherine's was some of the greatest days I've had. Brilliant when you get together, people from all walks of life together, doing what we love. That's what it's about, isn't it? Back at work tomorrow, he says. Gary's back at work. Well, Sue's got another 4 days off. Jesus Christ, she's not going back till Monday. I'm going freaking grey. Oi, who's the rabble? No, Nigel, you stuck it out, boy. You did. You stuck it out.
Yeah, time difference.
Time difference, Sue said. Yeah. You freaking got heating on in Germany. I was sitting here freezing my butt off. Oi, the rabble. So okay. So there's got to be somebody in here who's struggling with a dog at the moment. They want to ask Chris Upton a dog training question. Come on. Let's answer some dog questions. You're going to test me. Push me. So somebody said to me one day, my dog's got no nose. How does he smell? What do you think I said? Come on. You can do it quicker than that. I'm waiting for this. You got a one-liner here. Awful. Well done. Thank God for that, Piper. Thank God someone knew what I was talking about. Terrible, said Julian. Yeah, that's the way. Keep going then. Yeah. So at least some of you understood a kiddie's joke, kind of related. I've been using the clicker to try and interact with my little lad. Is it working? You'll be amazed how the whistle works with young kids. They love it. I've done it with my grandkids. They absolutely love it. Can I be your dog, Grandad? You've seen the videos. Yeah, I can see a clicker works in it. It's better than giving the death stare, isn't it? If they're really pissing you off, just click. Oh, freaking hell, Dad's serious. One click, you've had it when you get home. That's all you teach them, isn't it? When you get home, you've had it. 3 clicks, quieten it down a little bit. Or do you get a recall on a continued click? They come back. It's no different than dog training, though, is it? You think about it. You go in a shop when they're toddlers, and they, especially a toy shop, in it, like remember Toys R Us, and they just run down the aisles and they just freaking can't. It's just overload, isn't it, for them? Oh, I want that. Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. And you say to them, right, if you touch, you're not having nothing. If you don't touch and you show me something you like, I might buy it. And it's amazing how they change their attitude when they know what you mean is what they're going to get. Nothing if they touch. And that's exactly the same as dog training, isn't it? If you give a command and you can't follow it through, or you are lackadaisical and you allow that dog to just ignore that command, then you are creating a rod for your own back. But that doesn't mean you've got to be a sergeant major and you've got to bark commands all the time. Less is more, like we keep saying, don't we? And yet, when you look at these people like Zach George, and they say the dog should make the choice, and then you're trying to get the dog back and the dog's not coming back and you're nagging it, and then he wonders why he has to keep the freaking thing on a lead. Complacency kills training. So true. Introducing reward click chocolate button, very early stage at the moment. I'll elaborate. Hey, it works. It works with sex in the bedroom as well. When I click, she's got to come running. She said, as long as there's a chocolate button involved. Dogs soon work out that the click is a reward, but so far he's not quite grasped it, my lad. He's not as clever upstairs as the dog yet. I tell you what, I think dogs outread people more faster than people realise, don't they? I mean, you'd be amazed at how many people I just look at the dog and I think the dog's in charge here. Complacency kills training. Absolutely spot on. And that's the problem, isn't it? How many people out there? I read a good article today about everybody's talking about you've got to get into the dog's head. You've got to make sure the dog's feeling right. You've got to make sure the dog's is happy with what it's doing. No. Sometimes, if you want to correct a behavior, you've got to use a punisher. The dog shouldn't be happy, but the dog should try to avoid the punisher if you use the punisher right. If you don't use a punisher because you don't know how to use a punisher, or you've been told that punishers will wreck your relationship with your dog, then you've been brainwashed. And that's the thing with so much out there on the internet, isn't there? A lot of you may be religious. Good for you. Good for you. But I don't believe a lot of the stuff that was in the Bible.
Harry Lamb's got a question.
Who?
Harry Lamb.
I thought you said Larry Lamb. Where's Barry Lamb's question? Thomas, looking forward to its meeting group. That's Gary Marriott. I haven't got his.
I'm trying to run in open trials, in open test here. My bit isn't showing the same drive. Any tips, Chris?
Yeah, put the dog away and do nothing with it for 3-4 days. I can't even see his question. I don't know why. Unless it's further up. Is it further up?
Oh, you've got complacency kills training. It's the one down before that. You've just read Thomas's and it's in between.
No, it's not there on my thing. You've got it there, but not here. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, I'm trying to run in open tests this year. My bitch isn't showing the same drive. Any tips, Chris?
Yeah, like I said, put the dog away. Just do nothing with the dog at all. I went all the way to Scotland shooting on the rabbits. I shot, I don't know, 50, 60 rabbits over a bitch in a week. People like Andy Cullen, I think, said not was it Andy Cullen? Somebody said to me, hello, Chris, because I was actually in I won't say his name. Or someone's house, and he said, "Oh, guess who's here? Chris Upton's here." He said, "Oh, how's he getting on?" Say hello to me. So he passed the phone over, and he said, "How are you getting on?" I said, "Yeah, I'm shooting rabbits." He said, "How many have you had?" I told him. He says, "What? That much over one dog?" I says, "Yeah, but I've had to travel freaking 700 miles to freaking do it." I said, "I can't just come up for 2 and then go back. It's all right when you live up there, isn't it? And you can get straight onto the rabbits." But one of the things I did is I qualified for Save the Children final. At Queen's Place or Gatcombe Park or one of the two. I can't remember now. It's that long. Gatcombe Park. Oh, I qualified at Gatcombe Park and then was running at Windsor or something like that. And I qualified with this little bitch. And I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll take her up on the rabbits and I'll get her absolutely flying. So I went up on the rabbits, had a fantastic 4 days on the rabbits with her. 4 days. And she hunted her little heart out and she was buzzing. She was absolutely fantastic. And then I came back and I was running against Fenlold Papin. Fenlold Papin was a champion at the time. Well, this bitch wasn't a champion. She was a field trial winner, but she wasn't a champion. And I had Fenlold Papin with Colclough. Older Colclough was running it on this side, and there's me with my bitch. And I cast my bitch off, and she freaking just walked on me. And what it was is it was really hot. It was unscented ground. There was no scent there at all. And I tell you what, I felt embarrassed, but not as embarrassed as when he cast off Fenlold Papin. It went, and I thought, fucking hell, a field trial champion's just made a noise. Anyway, cut a long story short, the judge on the day was Chris Thurston Walnuth. And you've heard about Chris Thurston Walnuth and me, 8-panel judge. And we were friends at the time. And I went back to his kitchen a week and a half later. And guess who won Save the Children? Fenlold Papin. And I could not believe he kept him in. And I went back to his kitchen. I didn't make nothing of it on the day. I went back to his kitchen, having a coffee. And he said, what's the matter with you? You're quiet. I said, you've disappointed me. He said, what do you mean you've disappointed me? I said, well, I ran off with Fenlold Papin in that Save the Children. I said, and at the end of the day, that dog made the biggest yelp, and you could hear it. He says, what yelp? Did your dog make a noise? He said. I says, no. He says, I couldn't work out whether it was your dog or his dog. I said, you fucking liar. I said, you're a liar. He says, yeah, but didn't it hunt? The principle of it, you should treat everybody the same, shouldn't you? My dog embarrassed me because when I cast it off, it didn't hunt because it went, you're having a freaking laugh. There's no rabbits here. I'm knackered. I've been working my arse off in Scotland for you. And she was blistering it. I could have won it. She was that nice in Scotland, but she walked on me. So a word of advice, don't take your dogs on rabbit and then think you're going to run it in a test where there's no scent, because they don't go the same. You put them away. That's why I told you the story. You put them away. Now just imagine that dog made a noise when he cast it off. Imagine it was game there. Hey? The dog didn't just like hunt around, make a noise. He cast it off. As he clicked it off, it made the noise. At the end of the day, anybody dog that makes a noise in that scenario, the judges should treat exactly the same. As simple as that. Dodgy is as dodgy does. Say no more. Exactly. Now it's not the owner's fault that the dog's made the noise. It's down to the judge to put him out. But I can put hand on heart. There was only 2 dogs there, my dog and his dog, and it made the biggest freaking noise. And I looked across, and the judge looked at me with a stern look, like don't say nothing, and he just let it go. I can't say nothing. It's not for me to judge. But I had every right to question him when I got back to his frigging kitchen. Never ever trusted that bloke again. Never ever looked at that bloke in the same way ever again. Because if you show me that you will cheat and you will turn a blind eye to certain things, now got to give the dog credit. The dog was hunting like a freaking lunatic. It was a freaking flying machine. But on the day, and I don't need to lie, that dog made a noise. I wonder why that dog wasn't used much. I know why. And it's hell of a funny because there was an audience, there was a gallery, and guess what the gallery said to me? Did you hear that Fenlold Papin make that noise? And I thought, yeah, we all heard it. It wasn't a slight, it was a friggin' as he cast it off. And I wouldn't wish that on anybody, but it happened. As true as this, you can't, you know, at the end of it, I only saying it the way it was. Chris, how good was Clobber Art? Clobber Art was absolutely stunning, unbelievable. It was like a thoroughbred racehorse. Like I said, told this story many a time before. Colin Pass had Clobber Art and Amy, and Ian came round and decided to take Amy and leave Colin with Clobber Art. We went up to Dumfries a number of times when there was rabbits there years and years ago, absolutely even with rabbits. And that dog was just not firing on all 4 cylinders. My field trial, I had 3 field trial winning dogs at the time, a bitch and 2 dogs. And my 3 were absolutely smacking that into the ground. And they were youngsters as well. I won early with them at the age of 2 years old. and they were absolutely ripping it up. They just come alive on rabbits, because down in Cornwall we don't get the rabbits. Take them up to Scotland and they turn into different dogs. It educates them. See, if you've got a dog and it's always on rabbits, then it doesn't know that what's going to happen when it's not on rabbits. It's not hunting that. But the problem is, we used to have to run with the big boys and compete with the big boys. You used to have to take the dogs and put them on the rabbits and educate them just as much. Like Opie said to me years ago, I don't know why you train on pheasants, because we didn't have rabbits. We haven't got rabbits in the same way down here. We get the odd rabbit, but not that much. You know, you might go out and shoot 10 pheasants, you might shoot 1 rabbit if you're lucky. They don't get them sitting out in the open like they do in Scotland and in Yorkshire. And so Clobber Art was like not firing on all 4 cylinders, but Clobber Art as a youngster was really, really soft. And a lot of trainers would have got rid of him. And Colin Pass was a great trainer, absolutely lovely trainer. He's a falconer as well. And he didn't rush him, but he had to take him out of the kennel because the dog was that soft. He was getting beaten up by the other dogs, as in bullied, and it just knocked him back. So Colin actually took him upstairs. Now my missus wouldn't accept it, because I don't think she'd let me keep a dog under the bed. My missus. See what I'm saying? She's getting stroppy now. See, she'd normally accept that, but because she's had 3 glasses of wine and I bought them, now it's my missus. I bet you if I said my missus wants another glass of wine, she'd go, okay. She had to interrupt, didn't she? This is the problem, isn't it? When you give them an inch, they take a freaking mile. Hang on, where's that whistle? Karen, can you freaking blow a whistle and throw a chocolate drop in that direction? Yeah, so what I'm saying is I've lost all train of freaking thought now because chocolate drop in the corner. Honestly, she had to come up with that. My missus? Yeah, it's my missus, isn't it? Where I come from, it's my missus, isn't it? There's nothing derogative about that, is it? I never said it in the corner, did I? Or shitbag. I never said shitbag in the corner, did I? Anyway, we were talking about Clark Wright until she freaking interrupted. She now. Well, freaking hell. What would you rather have? It? The
old dear.
The old bag. The old bag in the corner. Hey? Like a wet dog. Honestly, coming from the rain, unbelievable. Armoured. That's it. Yeah, armoured. Yeah. I go, you're right, duck. She said, I'm not a bloody duck. I'm not a duck. Freaking, they can't win down here. They're very, very temperamental. You can say what you freaking like to them, northern girl. She'll freaking just twat you if she's not happy.
Calm down.
See? Who don't need this, do I? It's just stressful, isn't it? Hey, here's me. I was on a roll then, when everyone was into it, one day. All of a sudden, her in the background. Maud, yeah, Maud in the background. Yeah, so what I was saying about Club Rock, literally, you had to keep him under the bed. I can imagine my missus saying, yeah, that's all right, bring the dog inside and put it under the bed. We got drawers. You'd have to sleep in a freaking drawer.
Oh, God bless him.
Yeah, she freaking wouldn't. She wouldn't freaking have that. I don't blame her. I wouldn't freaking have it. Scratching your balls in the freaking bedroom. But anyway, he kept it. He literally didn't rush the dog. And then all of a sudden, I think the 3rd time we went to Scotland on the rabbit, the dog just came alive. Absolutely a different dog, just come alive. And it was one of the finest examples of don't write a dog off too soon. And he was a soft dog, a very soft dog, but hardened up. And we've had one here as well. And you learn by the more dogs you have, the more you learn. Wakeman's Risk, I bought from Ashby de la Zouche, just outside Derby, about 10 miles from Derby, from a guy from Ashby de la Zouche. And Colin picked the pup up for me and kept it at his house. And I picked up at 10 weeks old and walked in. I says, which one is it, Colin? He said, that one there. It was the freaking ugliest looking goofer of a dog I'd ever seen, with a tail in the air like that. I thought, freaking hell, what have you picked that for? Because I said, just pick one for me. Because they make it or don't make it. As simple as that. I can't be sitting there for 3 days looking at the eyes and counting their feet. See if they got 5 feet or 4. So he picked this. Colin picked me this dog, and to be honest with you, he was a gangrene. He grew up and he was a gangrene goof. He was, this dog, not Colin. The dog was, and he was exactly the same. But all of a sudden, one day, we gone right through this wood. It was quite thick with bramble and bracken, bramble and gorse, and he just went, oh, I don't want to go here. I don't want to go under that. Oh, that hurt me, that did. And I thought, you big freaking pussy. So I dragged him through the cover, and it was awkward because I'm on the lead, so I kept getting my lead stuck, and I thought, you are coming through this wood, because I've walked all the way through it myself. You're coming through. Got through to the bottom, let him off the lead, and off he went running in the open grass at the side of the wood. And there was a cockbird about 30, 40 yards ahead. And he just put his frigging head down and actually took the line on this cockbird. And from that day, that dog changed. He then realised what life was about. And it was as if, like the same with Clara Art, nothing was firing on all Phil cylinders. And yet he walked like a thoroughbred racehorse. You'd look at him and think, that's got some swagger, that has. That's got some style on that. But style alone don't win nothing. But when he came alive, he was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. It was a stunning dog. Colin, I think Colin had 2 seconds or 3 seconds with him, but Opie made him up in 3 runs, and then he went to big Jim Clark up in Scotland, and he pulled him all over the place. That dog, he opened up and just was a freaking rebel. So it just shows that soft dog, once they find their feet, can turn into a good one, and then you can go the other way as well if you're not careful. And that's why once they got the stud fees they got for that dog, there was no point in running him, was there? No point in running him once they got the stud fees. But he was a sound dog, absolutely sound dog, and I really was impressed. But I learned a lot from watching Colin in those days as well. At the end of the day, I don't think Colin won like I've won Gundogs, but he was very knowledgeable, good trainer, very quiet, a lot quieter than me as a handler. Got into the dog's head a lot more than me. In my younger days. But yeah, it was great friendship. We're still great mates, me and Colin. And that's the nice thing about us people in the dog world. You treat people decent and they treat you decent, you'll have a friendship for life with people. And we might not speak to you 5-10 years, and then suddenly they'll pick up the phone and have a freaking 2-hour chat with you. And that's what it's about. You meet so many wonderful people, but you have to put up with the arseholes as well. But isn't that in everything in life, innit? In everything in life. I want to beat my was it you call it son-in-law? I don't know if you call him. He's not married, but he's with my daughter. Partner, whatever it is, and he plays golf, and he plays golf to a good standard because he plays golf every week. I really want to go and play him at golf, but I want to go out there with one of them croquet fucking bat things, and or like I don't know if anyone saw Tin Cup with Kevin Costner. Did anyone watch that film, Tin Cup, where he literally wins? He does nothing like any normal person out on the golf course, and I thought, yeah, I wonder how good I am or how shit he'd make me look on the golf course. Wouldn't it be funny? Because
I can remember Salute.
Yeah, great film, wasn't it? Yeah, because when we went to Scotland, and we used to go and get them sun holidays with the caravans. Us boys four of us used to pile into a caravan for 15 quid each. We used to save the tokens, so we used to go up there shooting on the rabbits and pile into the caravan. And it was that good. I took Sue and the kids up there a couple of times. We went to Sleuth, and that's up by the Solway. Freaking miles down, and it's terrible. Every field you go in to take the dogs out, the farmer goes, "Get out of my fucking field!" Horrible bastards. Not like up in Scotland, because you're the other side, aren't you? And it was funny because there was a big golf course up there on the campsite, and we went playing that. I freaking tell you, I couldn't stop laughing. I couldn't freaking put that ball anywhere I wanted straight with power and pace. I could do it if I tapped it, but it'd take me 10 minutes to get to the freaking green. But if I hit it hard, by God, you couldn't see where it was going. I could hit a ball, but it was out of control. It was so funny. And yeah, they were good memories of us.
2 questions.
2 questions, go for it. How do you introduce blind retrieves for a lab? Get a white stick. Serious. Sorry, Joe. Sorry. It's just my sense of humour. I'm dyslexic. How do you introduce a blind? Oh, sorry. I thought you meant a blind lab for retrieves. No. So, okay. How do you introduce blind retrieves for a lab? First, you have to teach the dog scene retrieves and lining the dog up and positioning the dog. And then once you've done that, and if you start off in a corner of a field, and the corner of a field gives the dog a line to run down. So you'd use the edge of the field to the corner of the field. And that way you keep the dog to run the straight line down the edge of the field. Once you can get the dog to run down the edge of the field by a scene retrieve, then you'd start building it up with your blind retrieves. So with handling a Labrador, I don't start handling. I class that as advanced training until I've got the dog trusting me and getting to the end of the field all the time. If the dog finds at the end of the field, you don't have apprehension for the dog stopping halfway and thinking it may be here, because sometimes she drops it short and sometimes you drop it 3/4 away and sometimes you drop it right to the end. So if you always put your retrieve to the furthest point and work back from the furthest point and build it up backwards, so you put your retrieve to the corner of the field. Let's just say that is your field. So say you put your retrieve to here, right? What you would do is you would take the retrieve and put it here. You would go and stand here. You'd send the dog up this line here to that point. Once you can send the dog up there to that point there, you could then move the retrieve, leave the retrieve where it is, and you can move anywhere around the field and you could send the dog across the field. But first, you have to line the dog up and teach the dog that if you go follow my hand down that line, you'll always find something at the end of that line. And that's where people make that simple mistake of doing advanced training too soon with a young dog. If you can push a dog back and it doesn't stop till you tell it, now if it's always finding at the end of the field, it's not going to stop halfway. If you start building it up close and then increasing it, that's when the dog starts to drop its head, and you don't want a Labrador dropping its head until you ask it to. And that's exactly the same way as you train a Spaniel. There's some great Labrador trainers out there. They might not be good at getting dogs to hunt, but they're great at handling. You learn from them for that, but you can do that exactly the same with your Spaniel. You don't want to overdo it. And I think build it up in sequences. It's as simple as that. Another question.
What's the best dog that you have ever saw run, Chris?
1 and 4 Acne. I had a reverse forecast on them, and they both came in close head.
That's from Steve Payne.
Yeah, Steve, that was the best one, and they didn't catch the rabbit. There was a car salesman. I forget his name. Danny something. Danny something, and he was a panel judge, and he had a dog called Dano Dive or something like that. Anyway, he was an 8-panel judge, and I was carrying game on an open stake, and the dog entered a woodland, and the dog entered and opened up in the woodland and just quartered absolutely beautiful. Turned every time on the whistle. Didn't need much whistle. The dog opened up, and I like a dog that'll open up and on, and it really hunted, found its birds, thrust them, and I was like, I wasn't quite judging, I don't think, at that time, and I was practicing. So I would take a piece of paper with me and write down who I thought was going to win it and mark them up, and then the judge would look at my paperwork against his paperwork, and it would give you an apprenticeship, if you know what I mean. So give you an idea whether you're seeing the right thing and you're looking for the right thing. And I thought, this is the best dog here by far on the first run. But then for some reason, I managed to run under the other judge, so I saw his run in the second run. Where sometimes you don't see his second run. I think the other judge had finished, so I moved across and watched him in his second run. And his second run was in white. It was in tussocks, thick tussocks as well, thick tussocks. So you couldn't have a dog open up and hunt like he did, and yet the dog covered the ground beautiful. It changed its whole hunting for the ground treatment. You don't see that very often. And it was just popping stuff out, and it had a very short run, but it didn't miss one patch. It covered its ground. It tightened up, because you need a dog to tighten up and be really thorough in that sort of cover compared to an open woodland. And so the dog proved himself to me, and I always remember that dog. I can't remember his name though, but yeah, absolutely fantastic dog, and I always remember that dog. But it's funny because he was a car salesman. His daughter got into training as well, from Leicestershire. I forget his name. But anyway, I just really impressed by that dog. Me myself, I've had a number of dogs, and the memories are. No one can take away your memories, can they? And I've had dogs that would just open up and hunt like little demons and frighten the shit out of the judge behind you. You think, what the freaking hell is this? He'll never hold it, and then you finish the try and you've won it. And then I've had dogs that are sort of more easy to handle, no pressure, the more birds you could give them, the better they could be. And you got people there, on the lead with them shaking, going, "I don't want freaking hell! You had loads of birds everywhere. Give me more birds. The more birds, the better. You can get the run. You can impress the judges with birds, can't you? You can't impress a judge if there's no freaking birds." And I've seen so many times, and one of the biggest mistakes I've seen in trialing is when somebody is keeping the dogs too tight. It's that windscreen wiper action these trial people like, and some of them, if you watch some of the videos, they're crap, right? They just hunt them so tight you could kick stuff up with your feet, or as the guns come past, if there's a bird there, it gets up. But they're so scared that the dog's going to miss game and not cover the ground properly and get them put out. They keep the dog too tight. I'd rather go out in a blaze of glory, and it didn't happen very often. Didn't go out in a blaze of glory very often, as in you just let the dog pull you all over the place. But I liked a dog to want, and it would give me more of a buzz if that dog is absolutely motoring and taking in lots of ground. And I'm having to use a bit of whistle, but he's turning on that whistle, I tell you. And there's nothing finer, I don't think, than a hard hunting dog in front of you. But it's not for everyone. And what I was going back to say is, I've seen so many people judging and standing there watching behind, waiting to come in line. You've got 2 or 3 birds just moving ahead slowly. And anybody who goes beating on a regular basis, you'll know that birds will just walk ahead if you haven't got the dog onto them. Sometimes you've got to let the dog go to get onto them, but you get knocked out for trialing for that, because if they couldn't shoot the bird as the bird's going away because you're not shooting, you're just in the beating line, you don't mind your dog opening up a little bit more. But in a trialing dog, they shit scared of that, because the further the bird's out when they shoot it, the longer they retrieve. Well, it's false economy if you think about it. What you want is your dog to hunt like a demon, punch the bird out. Now, a good dog can go out and work a backwind and work the birds to you. So if there's birds out there, you can actually work the dog out and work the birds back to you. So the guns will have an easy shot, and then you'll have a simple retrieve, because it'll be coming back in on the wind. All these things go out the window when people start to panic. Simple as that. So many people start to panic in competition. Their nerves step in, and all of a sudden, where they might train quite well, and they might have a good understanding of how to train a dog, when the nerves come in, you see people fall to pieces. It's like, what's wrong with you? Like, your life's not in danger. You're running a freaking dog. Stop it. But you'll be amazed. You'll be absolutely amazed how people fall to pieces with nerves in certain situations. And it's the same in life, isn't it? I mean, some people in a kick-off in a pub where somebody kicks off, if it comes your way, they handle it, don't they? But other people would be getting under the table. Other people would be wanting to be right in the middle of it, causing it all. We're all different, aren't we? And dog training and people and dogs, and I think that's the wonderful thing about it. It's such a diverse. To become a good dog trainer, if you've been there and done it, like I had the pleasure of, going on the shoots, learning how to train a dog, being invited, getting a gun. I never had all that. Then getting a gun, then shooting over the dogs, then learning how to shoot over the dog. Pleasure is a make or break. Yeah, but the other thing as well is, if you enjoy doing it when you're trialing, then brilliant. If you get a buzz from it, and I used to get a buzz from it, I used to get an adrenaline buzz, but I didn't used to get nervous. I never ever walked up to someone, shook around and freaking shaking with nerves. I just like, come on, let's do it. Let's see if I can win it. And that I think that gives you that extra bit of, not luck, but that confidence. Arrogance and confidence is a very fine line, but success breeds success, as Gary says. I think you're right. I think then you've got another demon to sort out, haven't you? Because if you've been successful with 5 or 6 dogs that you've trained on the bounce, bang, 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 and then all of a sudden you're not getting nothing, you're not getting anywhere, you've either got to sit down and question it. Is it the dog? Is it you? Or is it the people around you don't want you to go any further? But when you were very successful with the first 5 dogs that you trained, and you won with them so easy, and you had so many good compliments, and people were giving you compliments all the time, and then all of a sudden it all starts to, like, you're not getting the rub of the green, you're getting dragged across for a freaking retrieve that they would have normally leave for the picking up dog, because it was miles away, and they just want to see if they can put you out. You soon learn that jealousy kicks in, unfortunately, in the dog sport of trialing, and that's sad. That's sad. I don't think it's as bad in tests. I honestly don't think it's as bad in tests, but in trialing, I think it's open more to corruption. I think in a test, if you've trained your dog to a good standard, it's a good testing ground to see the quality of your dog. A good testing ground to see the quality of your dog. And if your dog doesn't get the retrieves, it ain't good enough, is it? If you're not up there in eye marks, you're not good enough. But I have been done in a couple of big tests where they didn't want you to win the big test. And that's not bad sour grapes. That's like the dummy thrower throws the freaking dummy. It's hanging off a freaking tree. And the judge says, send your dog. And I go, where? He says, send your dog. I says, where do you want me to send it? He said, did you not see him throw the dummy? I said, yeah, I saw him throw the dummy. It's in the fucking tree. They don't like you. They don't like you. And yet it was the judge's fault because he should have been watching where the fucking dummy landed. Right? Did I call him a thick idiot? No. But he was. Because if he'd watched where the freaking dummy was, and then he goes, where is it? I says, see that fucking tree moving, look, with the bloke halfway up it, shaking it like fuck. I said, that's where the dummy is. And then it fell out the tree and come down the tree. He said, right, okay, sorry, didn't see that. Do it again. Throw another dummy, will you? So he fucking fires a shot, throws another dummy behind the freaking tree. You can't even see the dummy. The dog didn't see the dummy. Where is the dog going to go? Under the fucking tree that was shaking. Right? That's how thick they are. Planks, as Susie Two Shoes used to say. But my sense of humour used to fucking crack the gallery up. Because I go, it's like freaking Casey's Court, this is. But they don't like someone who's confident. That's the problem. Not arrogant, confident. Because if I was judging, I'd feel all right plank if I said, I'm sorry, mate, I didn't see that. If you can't see where that dummy went yourself and you're the judge, how can you judge the dog? This is the problem, isn't it? Evening, Chris. I have a 7-month-old cocker. This freaking stuff's making me talk about dogs. I'll have to have some more coffee. Look at the top of it. Honestly, looks like someone's got diarrhea. Look at it. And she's freaking laughing in the background. She thinks it's funny. Every time I go out, I get a whiff of coffee. I don't even like... Well, I do like coffee now. Ever since they said it's good for you. Chris, evening, says Brian Johnson. Is he from the Brian Johnson? Is that the Brian Johnson?
He's been on before.
Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson. Do us a song, Brian. Evening, Chris. I have a 7-month-old cocker. When returning with a retrieve, wants to lie down in front of me with it rather than sitting. Is it best to take the retrieve from her and stop this? Come on, you Corleone trainers. Come on, you Corleone trainers. Start typing. Tell him what to do. Let's just see if our Corleone trainers, we've got 2 of them in here. We've got Steve Pace and Gary Marriott, one's on top of each other, look. That sounds dirty, doesn't it? I would have it the other way around if I was you. I would have Gary Marriott on the top because he's smaller. Steve Pace, you're going to freaking crush him. Sue said it looked really good. It looked really good with his bungee jumping. Oh, stop it. You mean in his mankini? Okay, so Brian says, evening, Chris. I have a 7-month-old cocker. When returning with a retrieve, wants to lie down in front of me with it rather than sitting. Is it best to take the retrieve from her and stop this? And Richard says, blow the whistle. Well, if it's lying down, why do you need to blow the whistle? Think about it. Come on, you boys. They're having to freaking Google it.
He's only just come in, Richard.
Tried that. Well, there you go, Brian. That's probably why it's sitting down. Come on. We were talking about this on this. This is what we were talking about, Tracy. Well, I'll tell you, Tracy. We'll tell you. We were talking about this, about keeping things simple. And a question was asked, and I let everybody answer the question. I let them go on, and then I answered it, and it was so simple. And keeping things simple works. And that's the whole point. So that's what I was talking about the other night when we had that long chat. Ask the pup to keep coming into the hands and slowly walk back until it brings the dummy to hand and sit there dead. Get down to the dog's level. Richard Gould's having a right go, isn't he? He's having a right go, isn't he? Hey? What? So if the dog's lying down, you've got to lie down, do you? Get down to the dog's level. Come on. I think these boys, they've gone to bed, haven't they? I mean, Gary Marriott and Steve Pace wore them out the other night.
They're Googling it.
They're Googling it, Sue said.
They're looking at their notebook.
Honestly.
They're looking at their notebooks.
Take 2 steps. Hang on, Steve Pace is in it.
Here we go.
As long as she is sitting or lying at your feet, tap your chest and invite her up to you and bring it up, presenting it properly. Yep, that makes sense. Take a step towards the dog and collect the dummy before it sits. Right? Yeah, to a certain extent. Right. Well, I'm not worried about a dog sitting, and I'm not too worried about a dog lying down at this point. But guess what? I'd use a place board. Simple as that. I'd condition the dog on a place board. And we've actually been doing this with one of our trainers in the group, and he sent the videos in, and he was blowing the stop whistle. Dog was spitting it out, and there you go, Denver. I think Denver listened to me there, didn't he? I think Denver was Googling it, and
pretty quick, Denver.
That was good, Denver. That was. That's exactly what I said. A place board.
10 seconds too late.
Walk backwards or into corners, place board. Yeah, use the corners with a place board. Get the dog to come in, and one of our members has had a dog that's spitting it out and moving its head like this and not wanting to give it and then dropping its head. And I've said to them, we use food, but we use food sparingly. So as the dog comes in on the place board without the dummy, or as the dog lifts its head, what happens is you produce your hand from the top. As the dog looks up at the hand, you give the food from above. If you give the food from above and not down below, the dog's going to lift its head automatically, look for the food. Once you've conditioned the dog to look for the food off the place board without the dummy, then bring the dog into the situation. And one of the things this member was doing, and he doesn't need to do, he doesn't need to overdo it, as in make the dog sit on the place board for a minute before lifting its head for the food. But he has brought the dog's head up because you're asking for the dog to want to move on to the next step. So a dog coming in and dropping to the floor, if you bring it in on the place board without the dummy,
he says you will lie down on the place board.
Well, hang on. Will she lie down on the place board if you just use food? That's what I'm explaining to you. If you just use food, sit the dog out there, use food onto the place board, food from at the top. So if the dog sits down, don't give the dog nothing. Just hold the food up there. The dog will come in and lift its head looking for the food. Then give the food. It's exactly the same as why gay vicars love choir boys. If you think about it, where do they give the bread from? Up there. What is the choir boy doing when he takes the bread and wine from McVicar? He's not going to get the bread and wine unless he's doing that, is he? And why do you want him doing that? Well, if you're a vicar, you know why you want him doing it, but we're not going to go there. We're not going to go there with a vicar. Not all vicars are the same as that. But if you think about it, it's being subservient, right? So when you pray to God, do you hold your hands like that and hold your head down and look at your nuts? No, you don't. You do that, don't you? Hey, there's a method to this madness. Try it. She's laughing in the background.
I'm so glad there is a method to it.
Well, she does it in the dark. I don't know which freaking position she's in. Shut up, you lot.
Right, Brian. She's great on the place board sitting, but will not sit with a dummy.
Brian, you just said she comes in on a place board and lays down on the place board. Now you're saying she's great on a place board sitting. So if she's sitting on a place board, then once you've got to doing it on the place board for the food, no dummy, then you do it in the field, sit the dog out there 30 feet. When things go wrong in training, Brian, you have to go backwards a stage. Make a game of it, being on the place board and get the timing right when giving the food, and the dog will see it as a good place and become confident on there. Exactly. What you're doing, you're going back a stage. It's simple. If you're training and something goes wrong in your training and you've done it in sequences, you only have to go back one sequence. If you've rushed everything, you might have to go right back to the start and rebuild it all. But if you go wrong and you've been moving forward in the right way, you only have to go back one way, one spot. Now, so some dogs will naturally want to please, and some dogs will want to release that dummy as quick as possible, thinking it's not theirs. Others will drop down and still hold on to it. You're laughing if they're holding on to it. If the dog is dropping down and dropping it, then you've got a third problem, haven't you? So you've got to go back a little bit further. But at this stage, with what you're saying to me, if I got a dog sitting out there away from me, I don't mind the dog sitting, but you'll see a lot of so-called professional trainers tapping their chest like that, when they want the dog to come in. So they want the dog to jump up, and they don't mind the dog jumping up. A lot of people push the dog down because they don't want the dog jumping up. But if you've got a softer dog and you've given that dog a little bit too much discipline, and you've bored the dog slightly or confused the dog slightly, the dog will surrender. And so if the vicar wanted to put his penis in my mouth, there's no way I'm looking up to him. Right? There's no way I'm looking up to him if you think about it. You think about it. I mean, you're asking for it, aren't you? If you're sitting there going, yes, please, just let me have it. Let me have it, Vicar. Yeah, I love you, Vicar. It's when he just pulls that freaking top up and sticks it over your freaking head and you're having to do it in the dark. You don't know what you're doing, do you? Honestly, I was a choir boy. I can tell you everything. No, I was never abused as a choir boy. I think I'd bit his knob off if he tried that with me. He knew I had a hard mouth. Bum bum. Anyway, it's mainly the Catholic vicars. No, don't be rude. Don't be rude. Don't be rude. We won't go there. We won't upset anybody. Dirty bastards. Honestly, Chris Upton, I've lived a bit. You know why we used to wear them? You know them collars. Anybody? Was anybody a choir boy? Remember we used to wear them collars, those white things that are all freaking creased up around your neck. What? Anybody know what they're called? Come on. There must be a vicar in here somewhere. Desperate.
Ryan says, so best to encourage her to jump up on the place board.
Well, you want the dog jumping up on the place board, Brian, don't you? Come on. Yeah, you want to teach the dog that there's a fun element of coming onto the place board. So if you use it just for food to begin with, and then get the dog to come onto the place board without the retrieve, the day you come in with the retrieve on the place board, the dog's going to look up if food is coming from here. If the food is coming from down below, the dog's going to drop its head. The idea we want the dog to lift its head, that's confidence. That's confidence. You know that your vicar is not dodgy if the choir boy goes like that, because he's never had it in his mouth. Shut up. Shut up, you lot. You get worse. I only went there for the bread and wine.
You got a lot more by the sound of it.
No, I didn't actually. But I do know a few did. There's always one, you know. There's always one who gets picked on. Thomas a rough. What? What the freaking hell? Thomas is a rough. Ruff to you, Thomas. Ruff. Funny, thank you. Funny. He's not going to sleep tonight thinking about it. So best encourage her to jump up on the place board. There you go. In the beginning, I would say yes, Brian. In the beginning. There you go. It's like Adam and Eve, isn't it? Okay, so you've had an hour, so now fuck off, the lot of you. You've had an hour and 8 minutes. I'll give you a free joke there. I threw one in there, didn't I? You had 8 minutes extra. You lot just want freaking. You want me? Was you trying to get your teeth whitened, Chris? Do you know what? It reminded me of that toothpaste. You stop it, Steve. You dirty bastard. Can we say that? Has anyone been banned for swearing this week? It's been quite clean this week, isn't it, any of you lot? It's been quite... Just realised we can swear this week. So let's all finish off with a bollocks then, shall we? Let's just confuse them. That's what the vicar said. Shit. How strange. I just thought the same. There you go. So on that note,
has anybody sworn this week? I haven't seen any swear words.
No, but we haven't been encouraging it, have we?
No.
So we've had one bollocks, and we've got to say bollocks now, and then everyone can get to bed and not blame me for fucking being miserable at work the next day. I can't believe some of them boys had to go work the next day, and they put that much effort in. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Chris Upton signing off, and Susie Two Shoes in the background. She's sobering up, I think. And we will see you all Sunday. Who's in the Patreon group, and we will perhaps see you next week. I might leave this one up. It's just Vickers and Tarts are going to be pissed off tonight, aren't they? Who's ever been to a Vickers and Tarts party? I wonder why Vickers always get picked on. Good night, all. Chris Upton and Susie Two Shoes signing off.